Welcome to Women's Wealth, the podcast with me, Joanne. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower you all to step into your own life of wealth. That feeling of being so rich in your mind, body, and soul. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get straight into it. Hello, welcome back. This is a take two. I've just done my whole intro and then realised that my microphone wasn't switched on. Let me just double check it again. I'd plugged it in. I had a new cover, so the plug wasn't going all the way in. So it's a good job I didn't get through the whole 30 minutes. And I just thought, let me just check, which is a lesson learned from previous. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Because I've already done this, now I'm already confused. Welcome and possibly welcome back. My name is Joanne and I'm your very confused podcast host today. Before we begin, I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone who tunes in every week. There are a few of you now that I see downloading every week, and I'm so happy, so appreciative of you all. And if you're new here, if you've just stumbled upon the podcast, please go and check out some of my others. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment. You can also watch me over on YouTube, where I also post my vlogs, and I have a wealth body channel, which I'm shortly going to be uploading some yoga videos. I'm just in the process of editing, making those so I can, start to share a little bit of what I do over there as well. So today, hopefully it's not going to be too noisy. There's a lot of work going on outside today. Although, because it is officially summer in Dubai, well, not really a woo, you're not allowed to work outside in the afternoons because it's so bloody hot. So maybe that's why they've got half an hour left to do whatever they're doing out the back. I don't really know. I just can hear rumbling and stuff out on the road. So hopefully you can't hear that. So there's only 25 minutes left of that anyway. That was a pointless story to tell there. I do want to just say as well, as I am recording this, there is a lot of heavy energy in the world at the moment, and I hope that you're all managing to, it's difficult to avoid, but to avoid allowing it to seep into your own energy. And myself included, yesterday, you get lost on a spiral, ChatGPT, asking questions, finding things out that you don't really want to know. Funny story though, I was trying my best to avoid the news. I've been watching Sex and the City again a lot lately, but because of the numerous wars, and I was just reading, and I'm traveling soon, and I was just making sure that, I'm safe to fly, etc. And we had a really chilled weekend this weekend. We actually were playing Sega, and I know it's not really a subject. I saw something on as we were flicking and setting things up there. They were talking about bombs, and they were showing these bombs. And in my head, because I'm not an expert in bombs, I imagine bombs being how they were in computer games and in Sonic, black things with the fire, and I don't know. I have no idea. But I actually saw a bomb on the news, and I was very shocked to see what they actually look like. But anyway, so this was on my mind, and I went to bed last night, and I must have fallen half and half, and my partner came to bed, and he coughed, just one cough. But in my half awake, half asleep state, I thought he said boom really loudly, and that the bomb had gone off, and I panicked. I sat up, I was like, babe, what's going on? And I just coughed. But then when you're in that heightened, then I was awake, my heart was pounding. I have no idea what time it was. It couldn't have been too late because he was still, we just got in bed. And I couldn't stop thinking about the world and what's going on and things that I managed to see on the news. And it is very difficult to navigate and to try and push these things aside when it's all going on. So I do hope as well that you are able to get through your days without too much worry about everything and avoiding the news as much as possible. And I know there's people out there living this, but it's hard to really talk about it, because even when I say I don't watch the news, I don't want to know what's going on, I automatically have that guilt of, oh well, it's okay for you. Some people can't just switch the news off. So I'm feeling this with you, and I'm here for it. If you are struggling with anything and I can help, if there's anything in my toolkit that I can send you over, you can head to my YouTube for breath work and meditations and all of the things just to help your nervous system stay calm. Anyway, today I want to talk about I'm not talking about someone's, a book that I listened to that everyone was raving about, and I didn't actually get through it all. So this is based on maybe half of what I listened to. And this is the Mel Robbins Let Them. And she's got her own Let Them theory. If you're not sure what that is, I am going to go into that. And why I didn't finish the book and what I feel like we could also do instead. Now, I'm not a fan, not as in a negative way, like I'm not a Mel Robbins stan. I don't listen to her podcast, and I know lots of my friends do, and they swear by everything that she says. So I think that was kind of why I downloaded the book. I have listened to some of her podcasts, of course, because, she's in the mental health sphere. But the book, I wasn't really drawn into. So and I do love some of the freedom this Let Them theory does have when and I'm going to tell you what that is in a second, but I do have a slightly different, and I'm calling this my yet theory. And you can use the two. So I'm going to go through and then I'll share what my yet theory is, because this works better for me. So if you've listened to Mel Robbins and you're like, same as me, kind of like, I can't really, it doesn't sit, there's something not quite sitting with me for it. And obviously it must be a good theory because she sold millions and millions and millions of copies. However, I'm just sharing my own thoughts today. And who am I? I'm just sat in my little studio office recording my podcast at home with my 3 dogs, and I'm not making millions and millions and millions. So this is all my personal opinion. If you are a big fan of Mel Robbins, I would love also some suggestions or recommendations for other things that she's spoken about, because she has got a lot of episodes. So when I'm scrolling through, usually when you're picking a podcast, you go to your favorites and then something might be going on, so you look for a subject. So let me know, because I am open to listening to some more of her. So Mel Robbins Let Them theory. If I can remember this rightly, I think it stemmed from her, I can't remember if this was the podcast or it's in the book, that she said it to one of her kids who's getting ready for prom, and they were bothered by something, and she just said, let them think what they want. And from this, it stemmed, and this is how things do work. We tend to have an epiphany of, oh my God, why haven't I thought of this before? And then it grows legs, and we use that as our staple. So her let them theory, the core idea is if someone wants to go, let them. If someone doesn't want to see your worth, let them. If someone behaves in a way that doesn't align with your values, let them. It's all about letting go of control, letting people be who they are, letting them just have their own opinions, letting them just get on with their own life, and focusing on your own peace and alignment instead of fixing or forcing others to think the same way. So on the front, it can work. If there's somebody who has opinions about you, and there's somebody who is trying to make you think a certain way, or you're trying to tell them something and they really can't see it from your point of view, then you just let them. Stop forcing, stop trying to control, and let them think what they want to think. What this actually does is, as well as just allowing you to feel good because you're just like, let them do whatever they want, it's allowing us to detach from the emotions or the emotional weight of trying to control what somebody else thinks, says, or does. It really is a mindset reset. And I would also maybe say, and she might say this in her book, it is a nice way to reset your nervous system. So think about times when you have been so caught up in what are they going to think, what are they going to say, who's going to judge me, and you're comparing yourself to others, just to let them get on with it And I think this is something that our mums would probably have always, and it is a mum thing to say, would have said as we were growing up, oh, just let them get on with it. And I can hear my mum saying that now. When I go home, I'm like, Mum, is doing this at school and they're saying this. Mums would just tell you, oh, just let them get on with it. And I've probably said it myself to my niece, just leave them to it, let them get on with it. And what it's also doing is freeing yourself from trying to control. So someone's saying this, or someone thinks this, or they're sharing this, just let them. It's not your job to change them. It's not your job to make them see. It costs a lot of energy. So if you think of your energy as your currency, we spend our energy on people, places, things, thoughts, anxiety. All of this costs our energy. So we spend our energy, or we could spend too much energy on trying to change what people think. So again, this is where you'll let them will come in, because it's not our job to change people or their thoughts. It's not. Everyone has, and I think in 2025, we still do, and we're still allowed to have our own thoughts and opinions. I know that might seem a crazy concept, because we live in a world now that if you don't think, there's certain people that have their thoughts and opinions, and if you don't think the same way as them, then you're a bad person. Now, this is for me, growing up, you could be friends with someone who, I don't know, had voted differently, and we don't really talk about it, to be honest. But now, if you're on the opposite side of voting, then you're a bad person. And if you don't agree with what I think, you're a bad person. And this let them theory can work here as well, because it's not our job. We don't need to change the way that people think, feel, and what they do. Just let them get on with it. Again, in the words of my mum there. And this let them can also be really difficult to do, especially if you are, like myself, an empath, and you're really tuned into other people's emotions, and you really do care about what other people want to think about you. If you're a bit of a helper, if you're a bit of a fixer, if someone comes to you with their problems, and it's a really good skill to listen. And if you are a bit of a helper, you do want to help, and you give as much advice as possible, but then they don't listen. And then the empath side kicks in, or you see somebody doing something that they shouldn't, and you really want to just sit them down and say, please don't do that. It's your empathy. It can be difficult. And this is where I think I struggled, because as I was listening to the book, I was like, well, what about this scenario? What about that scenario? Because it didn't fill me with the confidence. It made me question, well, how does that work in this case? And I also felt when I first started to listen to the book that it was a little bit cold, but then not cold as in temperature cold as in cold feelings. What I came to the assumption of is that the let them theory isn't because you don't care. It's not because you don't want to help, and it doesn't mean that you don't hurt. Like, you still have all of these feelings. It's about being clear on who you are, what you think, and clear on where your energy is best spent. So again, energy is your currency. If you're spending all your time and energy on just letting people dictate to you, then this is when you need to reflect. I also found when I was listening was, like I said, we've heard this before, and a little bit of me was like, has Mal really come up with something brand new here? Or like I said, mums when we were growing up would just say, oh, let them get on with it. And there's other versions of it, and is it just another version wrapped up in a different bow? Because when I was listening, I was like, yeah, this is not brand new. So then I started to question, well, why is this gone so crazy? Because this has been around for a while. So other examples, if they wanted to, they would. And how many times have we said that to each other? If they wanted to text you back, they would. If they wanted to meet you, they would. If they wanted to do X, Y, Z, they would. And we've all offered this advice to ourselves or to other people, which again is very similar to the let them theory. So again, this is when I was like, this isn't new stuff here. I think I was expecting something new, which is why I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't fully I was expecting like, wow, this is going to blow my mind because everyone's talking about it. And another one that I really love is Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys. And I know a few years ago there was a reel, Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys, Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys, that I shared, and it was just repeating that when I was sharing something, I think it was about anxiety, that the thoughts that if you're worried about something you can't control, it's not your circus and they're not your monkeys. Exactly the same as let them. Another version that I would say that we used a few years ago, me and my friend, when we lived together, we would say, I can swear on my podcast, can't I? F them. I'm not going to use the swear word actually, F them. And again, exactly the same. So, they've said this, F them. They don't want to go, or he's not text me back, or they don't see it the way I do. F them. And of course, that's a little bit more harsh. And sometimes though it does feel good just to get that energy out and let it go. And a little bit of a swear word sometimes does feel good to have a little bit of a swear at. And also in yoga, we work on releasing attachment. Everything is about releasing attachment to the pose, releasing attachment to whatever it is that you're carrying with you before you walked into the room today. So again, it's the same, release attachment of that opinion. And I think this for me works a little bit better than the let them, because I think I'm a very visual person. So when I think about releasing attachment, I can see the things that I'm carrying on me physically. And then when I release attachment, I'm literally letting them go. I'm taking them off and I'm putting it out. When I'm sharing this at the start of my yoga class, and that we release attachment from anything that we're carrying with us today, I do guide my clients to, I want you to imagine that you're putting all of these things in a bag, you're taking them off your body, walk to the door, open the door, put the bag outside, close the door. So they are still there when you finish. The things that you haven't quite released yet, you can take with you. We're only human. We can carry these and then we work on them one by one. And anything that you have been able to release will just stay outside the door today. And again, that's the yogi version for me of this let them. Maybe it is because Mal's version is new, modern, wrapped up in a different wrapping paper, maybe. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments. If you listened to Mel Robbins and you loved it, tell me what blew your mind with it. Like I said, I got halfway through and I was like, I feel like I've heard all this before, and I didn't finish listening. I am just interrupting this transmission to bring you a little bit of Chihuahua and to remind you, and Dorothy wants to remind you, to please like and subscribe. So if you're finding yourself coming to my channel often, if you like what you hear, like what you see, every single like, every single subscription really, really means the world to me. I am planting this podcast seed, YouTube seed, with my bare hands from scratch. At the moment, that I am the editor, the creator, the director, the presenter. So every single little bit of support really means the world to me. It means that I can get on some more amazing guests, grow my podcast, grow my little YouTube studio, so that I can bring more of what you like to hear. So thank you, and get back to the episode. And where I also struggled with this is I felt like it was just like cut the cord and it's gone. It was a little bit too black and white, too binary, too binary. They don't get it, they're gone. They understand you or they're cut. They want to think your way or they don't. Let them just, it was kind of like, and maybe that's just the teacher in me, that I want to work and allow people time to think certain ways. And this is where I was like, right, this can be used in some situations and not others. Because humans, it's not just black and white with humans. We're not just yes and no. Sometimes there's a little bit in the middle. We're not just straight lines and circles. We're squiggles all in between. So this is where I found that I struggled, and this is probably where I started to switch off. Because we're messy. We evolve in a mess. Our thoughts can be messy. We wake up slowly and over time. So the let them of, okay, they don't think that, well, let them. And then it's done with. And then we move on and we get on with things, is the bit that I struggled with. And what I started to think about was, okay, so they might feel this way right now, but they don't know yet. And I feel like this little word yet is what made me come up with my yet theory. Again, I don't think I've completely made this up. I think it already exists and people in manifestation use this, but I use it more in everyday life. What if they're not ready yet? What if they don't see your value yet? So rather than like, oh, they don't see my value, let them think what they want. It's that yet, and it gives that time for someone to change, to come from their messy scribble mindset into maybe thinking your way, or maybe not thinking your way, but having an understanding of how you're thinking. And I feel like that little word yet just unlocked in me a little bit more compassion. It's a little bit softer. It opens the door that we are all still growing, we are all still learning, and we can learn from each other. And maybe it's just me that resonates more with something more gentler, something that does give time for other people to be a little bit more expansive. And that's how I work in my life. Again, let me know in the comments if you struggled with the let them. Does yet help you with that? Try it out with some things that you might think let them, and swap it with they don't know yet, they don't understand yet, they don't know me yet. It's not about waiting around or tolerating poor treatment, and this is where I think we can shift between the two. It's about honoring your boundaries while holding space for the possibility of growth in somebody else. Again, rather than just cutting them off because they don't understand, it's allowing that time for their growth, your growth, and the bit in between. Because sometimes letting things go, letting them let them, is kind of final. Sometimes we don't need that final. Sometimes we just need to take a step back. We just need time to think, to grow, to mull things over. And this can be used in many places. If you don't get a job, rather than using let them not know that they don't know me yet, or that's not my time yet. They might not be ready yet. They might not have the tools yet, the courage yet, the understanding yet. And when I'm using this yet, it's not as, okay, now you've got to go and teach them. It's about stepping back and letting them work it out on their own. And even for yourself, a lot of times for me, I might have an opportunity come along and then it falls through. When I first went freelance, I really struggled with this because I was like, yes, this is here and this is going to happen. And then you get the message that, oh, sorry, we're rescheduling, we'll get back to you, or it's not happening, we're cancelling it. And rather than just like, oh gosh, falling into like, oh, nothing ever goes right, that just wasn't meant for me yet. So for example, I am so excited to do my first retreat, whether it's going along with other people to guide yoga on a retreat or hosting my own retreat. And I put this on my vision board in my very first year of being freelance. And I did have a few people reach out to me, oh, we need a yoga teacher for a retreat. Are you available? So of course I said yes. And I think 3 or 4 times the retreat's been cancelled. They haven't got the numbers or other things. Dates have changed and then I've just never heard from them. And at first I was like, God, why does this keep happening? This is not fair. Like I just want to do a retreat. And now when I look back, I really wasn't ready yet to do that. I needed more real-time teaching experience. I needed more time learning about how retreats work. I needed to pick up more skills. So I wasn't ready yet. And if I'd have just used that let them, I think that really would have left a bitter taste in my mouth that, it's them, it's not me. Because just let them then. I don't care. They can reach out to me. I don't care. Let them. And that is where I think I struggled with the let them theory. And what I feel like the yet theory, what the differences are, is that it's self-honoring. I've just said you can still walk away. You can still honor your boundaries, but you're doing it with softness in your heart. And like I said, it's not leaving that bitter taste, because that's how I felt, that God, I'm bitter. And I feel like the let them is just a little bit bitter in some situations. I feel like it's more emotionally intelligent, because we're showing that we understand that other people are also doing the best that they can. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for them to learn, to grow. And they might not know yet that they want to do X, Y, and Z. So you need to allow them to find that out. They might not know yet about your strong opinions on a certain subject. Like, I have this conversation a lot. As you know, I love a deep dive. I love watching podcasts and people who are labeled conspiracy theorists. So I will then go out and tell people, I'm not preaching, but, I watched this. And what do you think of this? And people are like, oh, no, conspiracy theory. Now, for me, just go, let them think that. Like, I feel like it's a little bit like, oh, okay, you don't think what I think, so I'm going to shut up and you can just leave. But in my head, I'm like, oh, you don't know yet. Give yourself some time and have a little read around it. And it also keeps that flow. It keeps the energy high of, oh, you don't think what I think? All right, let them think that then. Rather than just giving that, it's time. It's honoring your boundary. And I also feel like this then opens up to how life used to be of people don't have to agree with you, but you're also then giving them that time to find out for themselves. And there's no attachment to the outcome there either, because it's yet. They don't know yet. They might not know ever, and that's okay. Or that yet, they don't know yet might take 10, 15 years, but it's just letting that go. We're trusting the process and allowing people, again, I keep saying it, to find that growth rather than just that element of, for me, the bitterness that comes with let them. Even when I say it, I feel like I'm a little bit bitter in the mouth. You see, I know I've just mentioned in business that, they don't know yet, or I'm not ready yet. And you can use this in relationships. So, they don't value me, I'm done. They're doing this, they're doing that. And rather than just giving that time that, okay, they don't know how to meet my needs yet. They don't know. And I think when you're in a relationship, you can be guilty of this, that, you're doing this and you're doing that and you don't think this way. Instead of having a little sit down, and again, instead of just going, let them, that you share your thoughts and you can actually say that, I know you don't know this yet, but I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling. Because a lot of the time we assume everyone is psychic and everyone knows what we're thinking and feeling, especially if it's your partner, but they don't know yet. Have you told them? It might be thoughts, feelings, opinions, political things that are going on in the world. And again, instead of, okay, you think this, you're the opposite to me. Okay, you're on that other side. So yeah, we're done. We're not friends. It's that, they don't understand this part yet. But stepping back and letting them find out for themselves, not writing people off just because you feel that their opinions don't match yours, and giving them time to go and learn. And I'm just stressing here in this world that we're living in right now that we need each other more than ever. So if someone does have different views, we all meet in the middle. And I was talking to somebody the other day that if you think of a Venn diagram, we've got this so-called left and the so-called right, and apparently we all want different things depending on what side we're on. But in a Venn diagram, when the two circles cross, if you fill that middle bit with our actual core values and core beliefs, they are exactly the same. And this left and right is just a complete made up scenario from whoever's in charge, the elites, that, okay, we need people to be divided. We're going to do these things to divide people. But when we actually go down to the bare bones of it, we all want to be able to live safely, to live happily, to have enough money to live, to have a home to live in, to have food on the table, to be able to clothe and warm ourselves, and to be able to love one another, to be able to help each other in the world. All these core values that if you can wake up each day and live them, they will all be the same. And I'm not religious, but I know that there's probably values in religions that all cross over. Don't steal, don't kill somebody else. What's the adultery one? That don't covet thy neighbor's wife, or whatever it is. I'm just trying to think of the 10 Commandments here. But each religion would have their own. And then, of course, there's other things in religions that you don't agree about, but the core values are there. Why did I go off on this tangent? I can't remember. Just as a reminder to take that time to allow people to work things out, because they might not know yet, they might not understand yet, and they might not have heard another point of view yet. So just to end there, I think the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins is very much rooted in boundaries. It's a clean separation from whatever it is that you're thinking about. It's just cut, gone. It's very good if you are ready to end something, and it does offer that element of closure. But that doesn't work for everything. Sometimes you need to use the yet theory. You need to be able to hold space for somebody or something. It's rooted more in compassion than, I guess, compassion and boundaries. So it's that understanding, but then you are also setting the boundary of, this is how I think, maybe you don't understand yet. Rather than it being an ending, it can be a transition, it can be a pause, it can be a growth point. So rather than let them close the door, off they go, it's a yet. And let's see what comes once that change has happened. And rather than it being a closure, it's more of a curiosity, and it's giving that time. So I think that Let Them, if I'm going to sum it up for the end of the podcast, Let Them says, I release you. The yet says, I release control, but with an open heart. I think that's, yes, I release you, I release control, but with an open heart. That's how I see the two. So I think that's why I struggled with the Let Them theory, because it was a little bit too nail in the coffin for me. I leave you with today, just have a reflection on your own thoughts, your own opinions. Like, where do you sit? Let me know. Are you a big Mel Robbins fan? Same thing. And you live by the Let Them theory? Please let me know, because I would love to hear other versions. Like I said, I'm doing this podcast based on listening to half a book. How do you feel about the yet theory? Do you think that you could work interchangeably between the two? Put them both in your life. Please let me know. And once again, please like, subscribe. Let me know other things in the comments. Who are you? Where are you from? Where are you listening? And I will see you all in the next episode.